did a thing.
Let's see.
Pop over there. Check and see.
I am doing the same. Spider-Man theories, but we are there.
Oh,
we are
we're there
streaming.
though.
We're there. All right. Multiverse news. Multiverse news.
Spider-Man theories.
Mute myself.
Okay.
Mute.
We are streaming both places. Sorry about the confusion, guys. We'll gonna do better next time. We'll figure this out. I'll try to stream a couple more times this week on the other cast to see if we can get this sorted, but make sure we don't mess up on the new on the for New Year's show, whatever, birthday show, that one. We are planning to shift, people out there in Twitch land, we are planning to shift to YouTube as our primary watch place. So if you are on Twitch, you may want to migrate over to YouTube, because that's where we're going to be trying to put our focus. We're going to stream to both for a few weeks to try to make sure we don't miss anybody or lose anybody or leave anybody behind. But we are at youtube.com/strandedpanda. Come over there. We're watching. Hang out.
Yeah, we got on both, so he gets a gold star.
I saw you respond there, Haley. While we've got TJ looking at both, let us know how the quality of each stream is on each platform, because I'm looking at YouTube right now. I'm a still image.
Yeah, I don't think that's YouTube or Twitch. I think that's coming from Zencaster is doing that, and I don't know if it's my internet or what, but we're getting really bad connection tonight. It's weird because we're wired connection over here, so I don't know what's up. I'm still moving normally, so the connection through Twitch and YouTube are good because I'm moving at a regular speed. So it's got to be just the connection on this side.
Is it maybe because we're streaming on both?
It shouldn't be. Like I said,
Okay.
the stream is working because I'm moving normally. You guys are frozen and are like blocky, and it's because it's because of Zencaster is not doing well, which is maybe my internet or maybe something else. I'm not really sure. It's weird because it started happening when I opened Restream, but Restream's working fine. So I don't know what's causing that. So apologies for the iffiness on the stream, guys. We'll work on it this week and try to get it better sorted.
Courtney said her Twitch looks and sounds fine.
Okay, good. Good.
That's good.
I just feel like you guys are kind of starting stopping, but it's cool.
Are we at least coming through like sound wise? I guess.
I believe we-
we're
I
maybe
believe we
image wise not great. Okay.
I believe we are stopping. Yeah, it's cool.
Are we at least coming?
Yeah, we are. Okay, cool. Well,
So we need to pop on Audacity here probably too.
Yes, let's do that.
Glad you said that, Jay.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear you. I'm worried that
No, I said I'm glad you said that, Jay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said I just said that, Jay, and then I was like, oh no, I didn't hear that, which means we might be having other issues.
No.
Okay. Opening Audacity. Let's get this show on the road. And I forgot to change shirts. Oh well. It's the casual week because of
It's
preparing for the
Just because.
yeah, that works. I was thinking because of the because the wonderful things he does.
Because.
Very nice.
All right.
Again,
I'm
if
hitting
you
record.
are on Twitch, we are migrating over to
me too.
YouTube. So if you show up on Twitch,
We're recording in Audacity. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
we're moving the show to YouTube. Okay,
be there or be square.
that's right. Okay. Sorry for my.
Squarespace is not a sponsor.
No, we don't give out
Not
sponsors
yet.
for free.
Not yet. That's right.
glass half full.
Ooh, man. I just heard a really loud noise. It's it's like a truck going by outside or something. It's so funny when you're in these headphones and you've got the mics. Like sometimes you just pick up things that are like way back there, you know? They're not very loud, but they're loud enough through here. Okay. Sorry about all the technical stuff. My fault. 100% my fault.
Nobody's fault.
Oh no, it was my fault. Well, the stuttering may not be my fault, but the delay is my fault. My bad, guys. Let me pull up our chat so I can see what people are saying, and then we'll go. Blah. There are way too many. Okay, this multiple stream thing is definitely like gonna be. There's just way too many windows on my computer right now.
I mean, if we've told it to move from Twitch, we could probably go and axe Twitch, right?
Well, I
So
think
you wouldn't have
like
to worry about that.
people might be joining late, people that are come normally,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. So I think it's good to stream to both for views. I don't think any of the issues we're having have anything to do with the restream. I think it really is just something to do with the because it's on Zencaster. Like I'm looking right at you guys on
Okay.
Zencaster and y'all are frozen. So the fact that we're not getting it downstream from that is unrelated.
Do we need to like look into investing in a high quality phone line or something like that?
I have a gigabit internet here, so
Okay.
I can check it to make sure it's working properly, but that's really all I can do.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, should be good. Okay, I'm hitting record on Audacity Equivalent.
I have been recording.
Yeah, I thought we were
Yeah, me too.
starting like 5 minutes ago.
Gotcha. I was not set up yet. So, all right, here we go. Captain America returns without. Captain America returns, but without Bucky. Disney suits draw battle lines. The House of the Dragon heads to Civil War. Plus, it's our birthday. All that and more on this week's Multiverse News. Welcome to Multiverse News, your source for information about all your favorite fictional universes. My name's Matthew Carroll, and with me on the panel today, we have J. Scotty St. Clair. What's happening, J. Scotty?
Hi there. To co-opt a line from the Beetlejuice trailer, the Scoots is loose.
Oh, no.
Set that one in the pocket all day.
You know, I practiced
Cannot
that
wait
one
to
before.
say it.
And Haley.
It was either that or "Hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana."
I think you chose wisely. I do. And Haley Hobbs. What's happening, Haley?
What's up? I don't have any cute quips this week.
That's all good. And Jay Sisson.
Yeah, I'm on spring break, living my best life. Just partying over here every day.
Nice.
This is how life should be. Not having to go to work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad. My niece is on spring break now too, and I feel like we should do something fun, like a trip or something. The beach, it's spring break, but we're still working, and it's a really busy week for us. So I just feel bad because we're like, go do something. I don't know, do some schoolwork. I don't know. It's no good. No good. Well, we're getting ready to celebrate our 1 year Multiverse News. 1 year Multiverse News anniversary next week, and you can be a part of the festivities. Join the live show April 2nd at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strandedpanda. It's at 7 p.m. Central for our standard recording, plus some prizes. We'll be giving out prizes. So come find out more about that. We're also planning a short Zoom hang after the show, so it's definitely one to tune in for. If you can't be there that night, give the show a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, screenshot the review and share it on Twitter or Instagram, and tag us in that share, and you'll be entered to win exciting prizes. Give us a little shout out. It's a year. Give us a birthday present. Shout us out by giving us a 5-star review, screenshot it, and then let the world know that you gave us a 5-star review and that you liked us. And we're going to give some pretty fun prizes away next week. So, yeah, we would really appreciate it. You guys excited for the big 1-year anniversary show?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're also giving away 2 gift cards to patrons. So if
Mhm.
you are thinking about joining the Patreon, now is a great time. You'll be entered to win automatically. So hop on over to patreon.com/multiverse newscast if you want to get in on that.
Love it. Yeah, big. Just gonna be very generous and just try to give all of our people that have listened this year some prizes and stuff this week, and we're excited to do it. So go join the Patreon, patreon.com/multiverse newscast. Give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, and like screenshot it and share it on socials and tag us so we know. And we're gonna get a winner, a few winners, and then we're gonna give away prizes on the stream too. So don't miss it. April 2nd, 7 p.m. Stranded Panda on YouTube. So, you guys ready to turn to this first story?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Captain America Brave New World star Anthony Mackie broke the news that Sebastian Stan's character, Bucky Barnes, will not appear in the 4th Captain America movie. The duo garnered great accolades for their chemistry after the Disney Plus show, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which saw Mackie's character... Just read that with a pour. Read that poorly. The duo garnered great accolades for their chemistry after the Disney Plus show The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which saw Mackie's character... man, I read this so many times, and I'm fumbling like crazy. Okay. Marker, and blow it up a little bit. Whenever there's new tech, I get all flustered. It's not even that much new tech, but there's just more things to watch.
Plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The duo garnered great accolades for their chemistry after the Disney Plus show The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which saw Mackie's character Sam Wilson come into his own as the MCU's new Captain America. Mackie's comments also alluded to no return for Daniel Bruhl's character Baron Helmut Zemo. How mad are we to be potentially robbed of more dancing Zemo?
Mad might be a bit of a stretch, and I think we've all been on the internet long enough and social media long enough to kind of understand that it's a little bit of a place of knee-jerk reactions. It can be a little bit of a bubble. It can be a little bit of an echo chamber.
No.
No, not the internet.
So to that end, I will admit some guilt. And when I first saw these headlines, I think I reacted the way a lot of people reacted. And I was mad. I was upset. And I was like, hey, how can you do this? Even thinking about the fantasy draft, I was like, oh, thank God this movie actually got pushed now, because I would have said, Bucky in Cat 4 is an assured thing. But as I dwelled on it and sat with it and, contemplated it a little bit longer, I do think that it makes sense, and we can't really take this at face value. First of all, this is just Anthony Mackie, making these statements. So this could totally be a case of Marvel lying to us. There could be totally the potential for Bucky to show up in a lesser role, maybe like a cameo, maybe a post-credit scene, and Anthony Mackie is doing the right thing and lying to us and bearing the lead. That's kind of my hope. But on the other side of the argument there, it totally makes sense for Sam Wilson to get his own Captain America movie without the baggage of Bucky and, Bucky's relationship with Steve. Like, obviously the MCU has committed to this new version of Captain America. He's no longer the Falcon. He is our Captain America. So it makes sense that they kind of want to trailblaze forward with this character in a solo outing and really let him, shine and flourish in the role. All of that said, not including Zemo, does rub me the wrong way. They had such, great chemistry in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in his limited role there. But I guess my hope is, again, maybe they're lying to us. I really hope that if Zemo doesn't show up in Captain America 4, I definitely hope he shows up in the Thunderbolts. If not, it's a little bit of that instance where, like, hey, Marvel, we know that you're, like, paying attention to the fandom. This is one of those things that you kind of have to make happen. And if you don't, it's a little inexcusable.
Yeah, we kind of think about the old guard and how the old guard, a lot of it moved on after Endgame, specifically Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson. And we're kind of thinking about these stars getting to this point where they've been in this franchise for over a decade, and they're starting to become A-list talent, and they're starting to get more roles, and they're starting to branch out and leave the MCU. And a lot of times when we think about that, we really focus on like the original six, like we focus on those original Avengers, and that's what we're talking about. Like, we got to replace them. We got to focus the universe on new people and stuff like that. But it's happening with all of the other side characters as well. I mean, you think about like Sebastian Stan as an actor, like he's been in this role for a long time. Like Captain America, the Winter Soldier came out a long time ago, and he was in Civil War, and he was in Infinity War, and he did a show, I mean, he's been around for a long time. And then you start thinking about like Elizabeth Olsen, and you start even thinking about people like Chris Hemsworth and Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, these people aren't going to be in these roles forever. And I think like hearing this, Sebastian Stan, he's been busy. Like, he hasn't been in the big productions a lot, but he's been busy. Like, he's been in a lot of movies. And I think it just kind of, we always have to remind ourselves of that. It's like, these are actors, these are actresses, they're getting more exposure. They're put into these big budget movies. Like, this really puts Sebastian Stan in the spotlight. And this reminds me of a couple weeks ago when we talked about Thunderbolts. We talked about like the rumor is around this movie, he's probably not super front and center in it. Like, he's in it, but he probably doesn't have as much screen time as some of the other characters. And so when I heard this, I immediately thought of that. It's like, yeah, I mean, the Winter Soldier is a character, but more specifically Sebastian Stan, I think we probably won't be expecting to see him as much anymore. And I think when you think about just these old stars getting older, starting to move on, starting to branch out a little bit more, that kind of helps us reframe why maybe we're not going to see these characters as much anymore, which is sad if you're a fan of the Thing, but also it's just the nature of the Thing, right? As you're bringing in these people and you're building them up and you're putting them on the map. But when they've been in a franchise for 10, 15 years, at some point, they do start to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, you bring up the kind of moving on of the old guard, and this being a big... We've had a lot of, like, new characters introduced, but this is the first, like, full taking up the mantle. Well, I guess Yelena, but she hasn't been in a movie yet by herself where she is the new Black Widow or whatever. It's just going to be an interesting thing to like figure out how to balance putting enough of the old MCU. We talked about a little about an MCU cast too. Like, do you include Steve Rogers in this movie? Maybe these other characters are missing, but maybe Steve Rogers is in there as like even a cameo, as like a mentor figure. How much do you balance the old with the new and moving on versus trying to put in a little fan service for people that are here from the beginning, and I think that he deserves this movie. He deserves it, full stop. And it, like, all to himself, if that's what they want to do. But I could definitely see them wanting to sprinkle a little bit of that old in there too. Someone from the universe that we haven't seen lately.
I tend to fall more in Scotty's camp of the Sam Wilson Captain America does need to stand on his own in a film. Steve Rogers Captain America, he kind of is a solitary figure by nature of his being the man out of time kind of thing, so he doesn't always need a team around him. And I wonder, because we don't know, we really don't know a ton about Captain America Brave New World. We don't know how many other supporting heroes are going to be in this movie or not. So I kind of wonder if this is going to be like Sam Wilson's solo outing as Captain America, but in the comics, he really is one who does surround himself with friends and with a team. And so I kind of think we might see the story pendulum swing that way. Like, he thinks he can do it on his own. And then he ends up being the leader kind of a thing, which I think would be nice. And that way too, still Anthony Mackie gets this big solo film that he absolutely deserves.
Yeah, I like that idea as an arc. Like, the idea that he'd be like feeling the need to prove himself as like, no, I'm Captain America. I don't need these other people's input. But then like realizing, no, like part of Captain America is being a leader. I like that a lot. That's kind of a fun way to sort of handle it in a meta, like in the meta while handling it on the screen. Okay, up next, things are heating up in the wild world of Disney's board of directors. Nelson Peltz, an investor with Trian Tryon? Anybody?
I'd go Tryon because his previous company
yeah,
was called
it's Tryon.
Triangle.
Okay, thank you. Let me start that one. Over. All right, here we go. Up next, things are heating up in the wild world of Disney's board of directors. Nelson Peltz, an investor with Tryon Partners, is angling to flip 2 board seats at the entertainment giant. In an interview with the Financial Times, Peltz was quoted saying, "Why do I have to have a Marvel movie that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to have that? Why do I have to do that? Why can't I have Marvels that are both? Why do I need an all-black cast?" These incendiary comments don't come as a surprise upon the knowledge that former Marvel Entertainment boss Ike Perlmutter owns 79% of Tryon Partners' $3.5 billion of Disney stock.
Oh boy. Can we splice in Bad Blood by Taylor Swift real fast?
She'd
Because
sue us into
this is,
oblivion.
She wouldn't.
We
She'd
would
be on
never
our
recover.
side.
We would never recover.
We would never. We'd be done. This is our first and only live stream to YouTube.
We would become podcast indentured servants to Taylor Swift.
This is a lot of old wounds coming up for up to the chopping block. This is kind of what this boils down to. So Ike Perlmutter, as we said, was the president, CEO of Marvel Entertainment back in the day, right? Back in the 90s. And he, is kind of like Avi Arad in that he has similar viewpoints on we make things that will make us money, period, the end. And to them, that means things that will sell toys and will bring in revenue that way. And typically, that's straight white male heroes in the Marvel world. Well, back us up to 2019, 2018, whenever they started talking about making Captain Marvel and Black Panther, and Ike Perlmutter didn't want to make those movies, actively lobbied against Kevin Feige and said he wouldn't make those movies. And so Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney then, had to step in and tell Ike Perlmutter, you are hands off on Marvel Studios these days, and I'm taking control of it, and Kevin Feige will take control of it, basically. So what's interesting about this dynamic is that Perlmutter still has all of this controlling interest in Disney as a company. And so it's kind of like, it makes me think of the election situation we're in this year. Like, things are just brewing and brewing and brewing. And I feel like Perlmutter is ready to swing an axe while he thinks that Disney is in a vulnerable position, given all the things that we've talked about over the last year or so. They've had some poor shareholder trust. Their products haven't been doing super well compared to years past. And what an opportunity for somebody like Ike Perlmutter to say, see, I told you so. And so of these 12 seats that make up the Disney board of directors, Nelson Peltz, kind of acting as a front man, in my opinion, for Ike Perlmutter, is trying to flip 2 of them. I've been in a hostile board situation before. It's completely different than this kind of corporate situation, but I know what it can be like, and it's really tough. And so what's nice to know about all of this is that a lot of support has come out for Bob Iger, and the candidates that he has put forth for the board. George Lucas penned an open letter saying, taking a swing at Nelson Peltz, saying that something like it takes skill to make magic. I'm not quoting it correctly, but basically taking a shot at the fact that Peltz said he has no entertainment experience or media experience. Grandchildren of Walt Disney and Roy Disney have come forward to show their support for Bob Iger, as well as Michael Eisner, who was, I believe, who Bob Iger took over as CEO from Disney, if I'm remembering correctly. And Michael Eisner is a big reason we have all the Disney parks we have, for instance. So I don't know that we're necessarily in a perilous place with this, but it's very, very interesting that they're kind of doing this hostile takeover in the board sense. It's not uncommon. If you're trying to throw some political weight around in the way you feel, Nelson Peltz is pushing back on things that he sees as, quote, woke or whatever being done at Disney. Doing it at this level is a really popular way to try to invoke some power right now. So yeah, this is kind of a big story, and I'm curious to see what happens.
It really scares me. Um, I can't not think about Elon Musk and his purchase of Twitter for fairly similar again. So I will say, I wonder about these quotes and Nelson Peltz and like this becoming promoted and stuff. I wonder it seems very bad, but also I could see this like promotion of these quotes being the other side going like, look how bad he is. I don't know anything about this guy. Obviously those quotes are problematic. But it just scares me that like billionaires can come along and just be like, oh, Disney owns a lot of your favorite properties, a lot of our favorite fictional universes, as we talk about around here. And it's like, now just a billionaire can come in and go like, I'm going to irrevocably change it. I'm just going to do it because I have that much money. And I just think that is trash. It's just terrible. So just really scary. It reminds me of the Elon Musk situation with Twitter. And it just reminds me of like someone just swinging their money around and hurting the communities and the art that we love. And it's really, really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, Disney's always been political, and they kind of probably will be political whether or not you want them to for a long time. They seem to always be in the crosshairs of particularly certain like sides of the political aisle that see them as I think one side sort of sees them as not doing enough for a certain political agenda, and I think the other side of the aisle tends to categorize them as like he said, being woke or whatever. And I think Iger was sort of brought in a way to try to mend those two worlds together a little bit. I think if you're Bob Iger, I do wonder like if he had the opportunity, because he was retired, if he had the opportunity to go back and make that decision again, if he would decide to stay retired, based on just kind of like how rocky this transition has been, this handoff from the Chapek era, which was short, but did change the trajectory of particularly Marvel and other Disney properties in some pretty huge ways, to now be sort of trying to balance these two worlds together. But yeah, I mean, they'll always be, I think, in the political conversation in some way. They'll always be kind of like a something that someone on any side of a political aisle trying to prove a point will point to and say, there's an example of what's wrong, with entertainment or whatever. And so it does have that kind of, that the company itself is so large, it does have that unique position of having to find a way to deal with that, right? Like find a way to deal with like responding to that in a way that doesn't necessarily cave, but doesn't necessarily like let itself be too affected by that type of noise too. So it's a unique position to be in. The date to watch on this is definitely next week, April 3rd. That's whenever there's an annual meeting for the board of directors, and you'll probably see some news come out about it at that point. Now, overall, I think Iger is still a relatively popular figure. Like you said, Haley, like people have come out and voiced their support that do matter, like loud voices within that company. But also too, like I think just overall speaking, like I think he is still a figure that people do respect and do, like, especially in the entertainment industry. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot up in the air here. It's bound to probably get worse before it gets better. But if you're looking at this and you're trying to make sense of it, there's still a lot of that story to be written, I think.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Nelson Peltz probably hasn't seen Oppenheimer, which is a real shame because that's got like more straight white guys than you can shake a stick at. So you should definitely check it out. But, as we've talked about, like, insider business news on this show before with like, media conglomerates performing their mergers and what have you, the easy comparison has always been Succession for me. But this scenario, like I talked about it in the chat, but it really felt like, Perlmutter is the Lewis Strauss of the situation, and Nelson Peltz is his William Borden, and he doesn't want to be, caught holding the knife. So if you can get your guy to kind of, stir up and shake things up, Matt, I do think you make some great points about how this totally could be the other side. Like, hey, he made these terrible comments. Let's put it in the limelight. Let's, showcase how awful they are. But on the other side of things, it just clearly shows how out of touch this guy is. Because to give a little context, he's an 81-year-old businessman without any, media experience. Not to politicize things too much, but he has rubbed shoulders and supported a certain presidential candidate, kind of went back and said he regretted that, and then doubled down and supported the candidate anyway. But the fact that he's like citing Black Panther and the Marvels, which it just shows like how out of touch he is, because it's like Black Panther was a wild success. How are you going to compare that to the Marvels, which, it was a flop. I don't think it deserved to be a flop. I think it was a quality movie that had other things working against it, including just the overall, reception to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But again, it's like, whether or not this was the other side putting him on a pedestal to kind of like make him look more foolish or not, like one way or another, this guy's comments are just completely out of touch and completely out of line, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Also, should be said that Black Panther is the 6th highest grossing movie in North America of all time, and Captain Marvel made over $1 billion.
That's right.
And both of Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever do not have all black casts, and the Marvels and Captain Marvel do not have all female casts. So,
True.
it is that's something that just needs to be said and needs to be kept in mind as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
anybody that says something like, "Why do we need women?" Not that I have anything against women, like immediately no. Immediately no.
Yeah. Well, and it's just frustrating to use. This era of Marvel has had more diversity, and it's also met some challenges, but I don't think the diversity has ever been the problem. Like the challenges of these movies have been, problems with, strikes and COVID and writing issues and directing issues. Like some of these choices that are made have nothing to do with the diversity of the cast. And it's really frustrating that I think somebody mentioned it earlier. You can point it and go like, "Oh, see, there's the problem. The problem with these movies is this. So let's try to get in there and fix it." And it's like, no, you will. There's just I don't know, just really frustrating.
Well, and I think later in the Financial Times interview, Peltz very not directly says something about Kevin Feige. Maybe he needs to be looked at, essentially. I'm totally paraphrasing and making it up, but it's something like that. And it's like, oh, you mean the president that led the $30 billion franchise? Okay.
Right. And they say something to the effect of, they've lost sight that these movies are supposed to entertain before anything else, which there's something to be said for that. Like, I think there are times when movies can be too message driven to the point that they lose the entertainment factor, and like on these big budget movies you have to worry about entertaining, but like that's just not even the case with any of these movies. These movies, like, they just have women in them, they just have a black cast, like it doesn't I just think that they're overblowing the idea that like Marvel is this insanely woke company that's making these insanely woke movies. They're like, they've got some diversity. They're just like kind of matching the vibe of where the culture is. And it's just like, the fact that they think that's so far over the line that they want to put billions of dollars into pulling it back the other direction is insane to me. And it's just more stuff about where we are as a society right now. It's a bummer. Okay, moving on. I'm sure we'll get more on that story in the coming weeks. The Dynasty of House of the Dragon will continue in Season 2, and viewers got a taste last Thursday when competing trailers dropped for the show. The fictional civil war in the story extended to the trailers, with a black trailer focused on Rhaenyra and a green trailer focused on Alicent. In the Dance of the Dragons, who will you pledge your fealty to?
I always think it's interesting whenever a company decides to create a civil war in the fandom and just see like what that does for engagement. And sometimes you can do it well, and other times, like, I don't know if this one necessarily did that. It was not super trending. It was not super talked about online, because when you inherently put out two trailers, you're asking people to choose, and sometimes they don't want to choose. They just want to see a trailer. And so I think sometimes that can sort of backfire a little bit. With that being said, I thought it was a cool idea to sort of highlight what this season is about, that you're highlighting this idea of this sort of war between these two sides and factions, and then creating trailers that are supposed to, in a way, show the point of view of each side. I think it's a really interesting idea. Overall, I thought the trailers were good. I think it sort of shows us where this season is going with season 2 of the House of the Dragon. It seems like it's going to have a lot more action. It's going to kind of bring these two sides to a very like you showed off the budget. It seems like, which I think is cool. Like to me, I'm excited for it. I think it really shows off what the show is all about.
But whose side are you on, Jay?
Give me green.
You're going green?
Yeah.
You're going
Is
green.
green the High Tower or the
Civil War on the
Targaryens?
podcast.
The green are the High Towers. The black are the Targaryens. I'm all team black. I don't know. I just I guess like the in every way, like the characters are less yeah, I'm all team black. I don't want to get too much into it because we're not an after show and I don't want to spoil it, but team black baby is all I'm saying. And Alicent is a snake in the grass. And her father's worse. And yeah. The thing about Game of Thrones though, and the thing that I keep thinking, like when I watch those two trailers, I am so team black because I just find those characters more interesting. I find those characters more fun. I find them more correct. Like even like the lineage is more correct. It's just like in every way I support them. But I know Game of Thrones, and they're gonna punish me for that. And we are gonna get into the season, and they're gonna do things that I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm so team black, and then they're gonna do things that I just I can't get behind, and it's gonna be painful. And I'm gonna eat my words. I know that. I
That's
do.
what that show's so good at, though. Like
It is.
It's good about making you, sort of look past those things for the sake of your favorite characters. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, I know, but
As soon as you're sure
the
you like
there's a
someone,
greater good at stake.
yeah. As soon as you're sure you're behind someone, like watch out. They're either gonna become a monster or they're going to like die a untimely death, and definitely not win the Game of Thrones. So yeah. That's exciting. I'm excited for the season 2. We covered it on PandaVision last year, and I think we'll do it again this year because it's a great show. Really fun to cover too. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our break real quick, but before we do, the Patreon, patreon.com/multiverse newscast. We mentioned it at the top, but next week's our 1-year anniversary. We're gonna give away prizes for all kinds of things, but one of those things is we're gonna give away a couple pretty big gift cards to our patrons. So if you're a patron, you're automatically entered in. So go to patreon.com/multiverse newscast and throw us $4 a month to keep the show going. Keep us afloat. If you've been listening for a year, come on, guys. You got $4. Such a small little bit. And we'll be right back after this. Okay, I will be right back. After this. Sorry, I'll be right back.
All right, YouTube chat. Are you team black or team green? I don't know what any of that means. So
I'm just more team chaos than anything. I don't really feel particularly strongly about either side.
Nathan watches those, and so I was like, "Did you watch the trailers?" And he was like, "No, I know what happened." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That was like the end of the conversation.
Trailers. I don't need to watch a trailer.
He's like, "I read the book." I was like, "Oh." That's all I'll say. Oh goodness. So how's everybody's Tuesday?
We're all
going?
the blocky people,
Yeah, you get all of
on
it.
YouTube.
It's not our fault.
It's really not our fault, guys. It's really not.
It's really not our fault.
Our
Not your
internet is
fault,
totally
Will.
fine.
It's not your fault.
I didn't do it. Oh man.
Looks like we got 11 people in the YouTube chat. How's the Twitch looking?
What is up? I think last time I looked it was 1.
Migrated over for the most part, I think.
Yeah. So
Okay,
if you're on Twitch and you see the numbers are low, it's because we're on YouTube today, and we're trying to switch to YouTube. So come on over, join us. Come on over. Come on over, baby. But I love it. I appreciate you guys joining. And we got like 15 people watching earlier on YouTube, so that's cool.
Well, we have 10 now. So.
Yeah. I just mean like it's kind of been capping out at 11 or 12 on Twitch. So
the one person didn't like being called out when I said we had 11. They're like, all right, I'm out.
They're like, I'm bouncing. I can't stand the pressure.
But yeah, we're switching over to YouTube partially because it's a better place for us. We think we'll see how it goes. Okay,
Don't
you guys.
delete your Twitch.
Yeah, don't delete your Twitch. We might go back eventually, but for now, you guys ready to do this thing?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Lightning round.
Lightning round, baby. Okay. Welcome back to Multiverse News. And first things first, we talk about our Spotify poll. Not patron poll. Spotify poll. And this week, our question was, search yourself. Would you choose the light side or the dark side of the Force? And like, I somehow knew this was going to happen. I don't know why, but we got... The light side got 51% and the dark side got 48%. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on out there?
Everybody say
That's
what
tight.
you voted for. Just say it.
I voted
voted
dark side.
I'll
They
say
have
it.
way cooler powers. Okay, they shoot lightning. Like that's way
Yeah.
cooler. You
Easier
know,
to
they
get
seem
there.
to be winning all the time. Like they can't get rid of them ever. Like and the Jedi are, I don't know. The Jedi are kind of like, I don't know. They're kind of lame. Like they're always losing. They're always like, we're the best protectors of the galaxy. Blah blah blah. And then like two people overthrow them. I mean, come on. Like, give me a break. Like they kind of seem like they're up their own butt so much all the time about everything that they're not like actually, I don't know, protecting the galaxy or whatever.
Jay,
Grant.
You should read the High Republic stuff.
Jay, I am watching you, buddy. First you're Team Green, and now you're a Sith over there. I mean, Lord.
Jay's
You're-
got a darkness to him.
Keep an
Yeah,
eye on
I just
Jay
know what
Sisson.
I know what I would choose. I know what I would choose in the moment. I know myself.
All right, let's.
So yeah, I voted light side, and I based it off of like video games. Like if you have a choice in a video game to take like the pacifist route or the violent route, like I always choose the pacifist route the first time around. I'm like, I know that these are digital constructs, but I still feel bad about inflicting pain upon them if I don't have to.
Okay. Here, let's
Scotty's
have a
playing Grand
discussion
Theft
about
Auto.
this.
He's like driving on the right side of the road, stopping at stoplights.
The Jedi
He's
are
like,
not
yes,
pacifists.
officer. Yes, officer. I am obeying the law.
Also, the Jedi, they're like, I won't kill you, but I will horribly maim you for life.
Right.
That's
All the
Rip
time.
you away from your
Like,
family
all
and
the
then
time.
abandon
They're
you.
like, I won't kill you, but I'll cut your arm off.
Yeah,
I
but
won't kill you, but
only
you
if
don't
you're
need legs.
only if you're
so
trying to
messed up.
murder folks. Like, come on, they're defending people.
I mean, I'd rather have
I don't know,
all
they
my
seem-
limbs.
They seem a little self-indulgent to me.
They seem okay.
Got that big tower right in the middle of Coruscant.
Like-
Who do you think you are?
Fascist,
It's so ugly.
dark fascist
Do
leadership,
better.
or they seem a little bit big on themselves. Like, I don't know, man.
Sounds like government to me.
You're a good egg, Jay Scotty. You're a good egg.
It's funny, like we talked about real politics earlier, and we were both just like, we were all just kind of like, here's the facts. And now we're talking about Jedi versus
Jedi like,
Sith, and we're
"Dark
like,
side."
no, you're wrong.
I just have to disagree with Scotty that the Jedi are pacifists because I
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
they beat lemon people. It's not okay.
Yeah, they're pacifists. Their primary thing is to go out and fight in the galaxy. So, yeah, I don't know. At least at that point that we've seen. That's the thing with the High Republic, though, right? Isn't it supposed to be a little less like that? I don't know. You read these books, Haley.
It's like the Jedi at the height of their power, kind of. Well, it's complicated. Read the books; they're really good.
Okay,
Hubris always surrounds the Jedi. Let's just say that.
right, absolutely.
The fall of the Jedi has often been compared to the fall of Rome, so I think you can kind of look at like the high point of Rome and maybe the Roman Empire and maybe compare that. Maybe I don't know. I haven't read.
We haven't gotten to that part just yet, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the Acolyte. Just see a different era and learn more about it. Okay, we're getting into the lightning round now. I'm going to read a story. Everyone on the panel can claim that story by shouting out their name. And if you are first, you get to tell your take about that story. And per the entire lightning round, you only get one rebuttal. So use it wisely. Up first, Pirates of the...
See how I'm feeling. See how I'm feeling tonight.
Up first, Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer told comicbook.com a sixth movie in the franchise is confirmed, but called it a reboot.
Scotty. Yeah, this news kind of, had me spinning my head a little bit. I thought about it, and we actually haven't had a Pirates movie since 2017, going on 8 years ago, which is kind of crazy. But it's one of those franchises I haven't had too many opportunities to talk about, but I absolutely love the Black Pearl so much. It was so influential on me as a young moviegoer. It was like one of the first instances outside of like the Lord of the Rings. Like me and my friends saw it in the summer of 2003, and we were like, we got to go back and see this thing as soon as we can. That being said, I often compare the franchise to the Transformers franchise, where it had a really, really good, solid first movie, and then everything kind of after that was diminishing returns. I think you can even look at Jurassic Park and compare that kind of similarly as well. But, I do think Jerry Bruckheimer might be kind of just like, talking out the side of his head a little bit, because he was talking about how rebooting the franchise would be easier than bringing certain actors back. So while they may be focusing on different characters, I do find it kind of hard to believe that Pirates would have a full hard reboot at this point in time. Like, I think it just kind of makes sense to continue the franchise, but look in other corners and focus on other characters. But we will see. That's really all the news that we have. There's not a lot of details to go on at all.
Cool. The first trailer dropped for Fede Alvarez's upcoming installment of the Alien franchise, Alien Romulus, which currently has a release date of August 16th this year. The film takes place between Alien, which debuted in 1979, and Aliens, which debuted in 1986.
Scotty, I'll go 2 for 2 on this one. I really, really love this trailer. I think, had this trailer come out any other year when it didn't have competition from like Deadpool and Wolverine and, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, this would probably be my favorite trailer of the year so far. It really tapped into the body horror and the claustrophobia of those first couple of films. Plus, we know that, Fede Alvarez has the blessing of both Ridley Scott and James Cameron going into this thing. So everything that we're seeing on display, Kaylee Spaney is an actor that's kind of definitely been up on the rise, but nothing that I've kind of like seen her in has really attracted my attention that much to kind of check her out. But she looks like a total badass in the same lineage as like, Ripley. So I'm definitely excited for this one.
Awesome. A new Marvel video game, 1943 Rise of Hydra, is set for a 2025 release and dropped the first trailer last week. The title, which hails from Skydance New Media and Marvel Games, will focus on characters Captain America and Black Panther, who at the time was King T'Challa, also known as Azuri. The game will be set in World War II. Matt, this game looks awesome. I am totally going to play it as much as I have time for. But the thing that my one take on this is it's a terrible name. Just an absolutely atrocious name. Like when you got like Captain America and Black Panther, like there's just so much better. Like put them in the title of the thing. It feels really silly to me to call it 1943 Rise of Hydra. I think it's burying the lead, and hopefully the game will get enough promotion that it'll like overcome that. But I think it's a trash name.
Scotty with a rebuttal. So Mark Bernardin, who's on the Fat Man Beyond podcast, he actually wrote for this game, and he had been teasing that he was working with Marvel on a project but couldn't reveal. So to find out that this was the project is pretty exciting. That being said, other things that we learned about this trailer, because I don't think there was any gameplay whatsoever. It was all cinematics and cutscenes, which look, absolutely stunning. But the other thing we learned is that we're going to be playing as, Steve Rogers, Azuri. We're also going to be playing as a Wakandan spy, and then a member of the Howling Commandos, Gabriel Jones. So when I hear that, it does have me scratch my head a little bit. It's like when you have the opportunity to play as Captain America and Black Panther, why would you want to play as these other characters. I do have faith, I have trust that they're going to use these characters for the right purposes, and maybe have some really heartfelt moments, and kind of highlight that dichotomy between regular people and these super soldiers. So definitely one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. It reminds me, you mentioning that, it reminds me of in the Spider-Man games, they'll have moments where you play as Mary Jane or whatever, and like I find that so dumb. Or Peter Parker, even like you're
just
Spider-Man
literally sneaking around with no powers.
Yeah,
you're just like hiding behind something.
like,
Okay, time to move.
Yeah, I gotta
something else.
go put the thumb drive in the thing. Like I just like no, come on, just let me swing around. This is stupid. The Neverending Story, the beloved fantasy novel from late German author Michael Ende that was famously adapted into a cult 1984 film, will be revived with a joint venture partnership between Michael Ende Productions and Seesaw Films. The adaptation will span multiple live-action films. Nobody?
Who put
Was
it on?
anybody a fan of my Neverending Story growing up? I watched like once or twice. I was
I've
kind of
never seen
traumatized by it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I know it's beloved.
there's scenes in that movie I don't want to see again.
Well, Jay, you've seen it, so you have to say something.
I mean, I will say Seesaw Films does Slow Horses on Amazon Prime, which is a great show. Or sorry, not Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, which is a great show. So that gives me a little bit of credibility here. I don't know if that story translates as well to the modern world. Like when it came out, it made sense and it caught on, but like to sort of reboot that and bring it to the modern world, I just don't know what kind of interest level there will be. So I'm especially hearing that it's going to span multiple films. Like they got franchise in mind with this thing, So looking at that, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like Hollywood does not like to give up on IPs. They do not like to give up on franchises. But I don't know. This is kind of a wait and see for me. I'm not a huge like proponent of that franchise or that movie anyway. But I guess if you're a hardcore fan, even that, like I don't know if a hardcore fan is like, give me another one of these. Like I think a lot of times hardcore fans like want the old one. Like they don't want to reboot it especially with multiple films. So I don't know. I think you're going to get a lot of different mixed opinions on this announcement.
A film based on the popular video game franchise The Sims is in early production with Loki director Kate Herron attached to direct. Margot Robbie's production company Lucky Chap will produce the feature.
Jay, did you all play The Sims growing up?
Played a couple of them.
I did a little bit. Like it was when my sister was into it, and then I kind of like got into it by proxy. And if you don't know, like the point of The Sims is you're literally kind of like running people's lives. Like you're building these like homes, and like you're like sending them to their jobs. And I know as I'm describing it, you're like, why would you want to do that? Just go live your real life. Like I get it, okay, but like it was a franchise that was built over the course of multiple decades. I mean, the franchise has been around for over 25 years probably at this point. It's a computer game, right? And when I hear, oh, you're going to make a movie about The Sims, it's like, okay, but like The Sims is literally just about like real life. Like nothing supernatural happens in it. Nothing, like you're literally sending people to their jobs and like putting a TV on the wall and like taking care of the kids. And like it's literally life. It's a life simulator, right? And so it's like, when I hear that, I'm immediately like, well, that's dumb to make a movie. But then I hear that you got Kate Herron involved, Margot Robbie, and like the Barbie thing comes to mind. Like how you tell me, oh, you're going to make a movie about Barbie the doll. I'm like, well, that's dumb. But then you see the movie Barbie, and like they're so self-aware about like, this is a movie about a toy, that is what makes the movie great. So like now I think I have this renewed perspective. It's like, all right, we're going to make a video game about people doing life or whatever. Okay, that's dumb. But then you hear, okay, let's reframe it after seeing Barbie. And it kind of makes me think like, all right, if you're self-aware about what it is, you can make something that does say something really interesting and cool. So I think with that in mind, like I'm a little bit more intrigued by it and kind of interested to see what you can do with that sort of idea.
Yeah, rebuttal. I'm right there with you on that. I think that the talent attached has me completely on board. And then thinking about it through that lens of Barbie, like the way that they use those toys to really talk about the social issues. Like the idea of The Sims is this sort of like, when you think about the Sims themselves, they have this sort of character to them, and they get frustrated and they get angry and they fall in love, and you sort of root for them. But they're also basically just like, you're their little puppet master. And you can absolutely see a lot of social commentary about like possibly work culture, or like the way we go through life and the way that life sort of just like piles up on us, and we just kind of have to keep doing the next thing we have to do, you know. And that can be really, really challenging and hard to deal with, and sort of just adulting, I guess, and like living life as it's sort of scripted for you, you know. It's like you look at your week and you're like, did I do anything that I chose to do this week, or was it all just like things I decided 2 years ago, and I've been like, just like, you know what I mean? Like you really can like lose yourself in like top down, got to go to work, got to do the thing, got to take care of the family, got to cook dinner, got to, you know. And I just like, I can totally see a really good movie coming from that. And I really respect Kate Herron. And I think she could do a great job with this. So, and again, Margot Robbie's connection to Barbie, totally with you on this. Last week, we reported a rumor that Scarlett Johansson was being circled to star in the upcoming Jurassic World film. This week, trades have reported that she is officially in talks for the film.
Scotty?
Really?
All right.
No, because I have to say to you, Scotty, I know why they're calling it Jurassic World.
Okay.
It's because
I was
that's like what everything is on social media. So when places are tagging it in their posts, that's what it says.
Okay. That
And
makes
yay,
sense.
Scarlett! I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully this time next week we're updating the story again and saying that she's signed on. So.
The first trailer for Beetlejuice has... Sorry, what was that?
Jurassic Universe is
Jurassic
totally
Universe,
the
like, it
next
has
thing.
to just keep
Yeah,
going,
it has
right?
to be Jurassic Universe.
Yeah, right. And
Jurassic
dinosaurs in space.
Jurassic
sound good to me.
Infinity.
Jurassic Solar System.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking too small. You think it's
Okay, you're right. Shame on me.
The first trailer for Beetlejuice has dropped. Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara are returning to the franchise, and Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux, and Monica Bellucci are joining this for the sequel. The film debuts in theaters on September 5th.
Scotty?
The scoots is loose.
Had I been the one to, come up with this title, I think I would have said Beetlejuice. But Beetlejuice is a
so
pretty
good.
good title, right?
That's so good.
That's good. That's real good, Scoots.
But yeah, this trailer was effective. It didn't do a lot. It showcased the new characters, and what it did really effectively is just kind of create a vibe. You had all of the hallmarks back to the original film. We got to see, the landscape. We saw the red barn structure around the bridge. We get to see the house, and then you have Henry Belafonte's, classic song proceeding throughout the trailer, and then the trailer just ends on a perfect note, getting to see Michael Keaton again right there with Winona Ryder, and just one line, the juice is loose, and that's all you need to know.
Love it. Jack Black. Sorry. Jack Black recently told news outlet Joe that he is ready for a sequel to 2003's musical comedy School of Rock. Also noting that for a sequel, he would want the White Lotus creator Mike White. Let me start over. Sorry, guys. Jack Black recently told news outlet Joe that he is ready for a sequel to 2003's musical comedy School of Rock. Also noting that for a sequel, he would want the White Lotus creator Mike White, who wrote the first film, to return.
Jay, I love School of Rock. I think it still holds up to this day. If you watch it now and you've never seen it before, I think it still is as good as it was then. There was a cast get together a couple years ago, I think, like Jack Black posted on social media, because if you know the basic plot of the story, he's like a substitute teacher and he's a musician, and he takes over this class of these very young kids, and he basically like teaches them how to be a band throughout the movie. And all these kids at the time are now grown, and so he reunited with a lot of the cast, and they posted about it, and it blew up. Like, people were like, "Oh my gosh, like I would love to watch a sequel to this movie. Like, it's so cool to see you guys together." So I think there is interest there. We're really in this like really cool era of Jack Black's career, where like he's doing Bowser, he's in like this like Minecraft movie that's coming up, like this Kung Fu Panda role that he's done, just got a fourth movie, like he's traveling all over the world promoting all this stuff. Like, so he's like really doing a lot right now, and I think this would be a cool circular moment for his career. Like, this would be a cool sequel, and I think there's a lot of interest in it.
It's wild.
Scotty with a tiny butt. I was just gonna say, he mentions reteaming with Mike White as the writer, but I really hope that if this does come to fruition, they bring back Richard Linklater as well, because I think they have a pretty good partnership. They did School of Rock together, and then they had this other film that came out in like 2016 called Bernie, which I really really like, as like a black comedy. And I also just like to see Richard Linklater kind of return to his roots with some comedy a little bit. He's been doing a little more eclectic stuff the last few years.
Peaky Blinders creator Stephen Knight confirmed that a film in the franchise is currently scheduled to begin filming this September with Cillian Murphy, and Cillian Murphy will star... Sorry, guys. And Cillian Murphy will return to star, reprising his role from the series.
Haley, I'm not saying Margot Robbie made this happen, but Margot Robbie might have made this happen, because in her Actors on Actors interview with Cillian, she was like, "So I'm a Peaky Blinders fan, like, would there be more to the story?" And he was like, "I don't know, maybe." And I don't know that Cillian's necessarily the best like faker in interview situations, so I kind of, and who knows, I don't know how like far in advance those variety things are filmed, so I think Margot Robbie's gonna be queen of the world soon or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. The first trailer has dropped for The Penguin, the Batman spin-off series starring Colin Farrell. The series is expected to debut on Max this fall.
Scotty? Yeah, this was a solid trailer. I certainly liked what I saw. It obviously looked very, very grounded, which, Matt Reeves, the Batman, was. But I did find myself missing a little bit of something. And while, actually, do we know if this is a prequel or is it a sequel? Do we know when it takes place? Has that been...
I think it's a sequel. I think that's been confirmed.
Okay.
It takes place after the Batman.
Okay. But at any rate, he kind of, has some dialogue that alludes to his beginnings and kind of gave me, some Goodfella vibes, like Goodfellas vibes, like, as from the earliest I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. But the one thing I was kind of missing is, Colin Farrell had these like really big moments in Batman. Like, I think about when he was there with Batman and Gordon, and he's the one to realize it's like El Rata. Like, come on, am I the only one thinking here? Like, he has these big moments, and like this was like surprisingly like subdued in his delivery. So hopefully they're just holding back, and we're gonna get some of those moments in this series.
Yeah, I'll use the rebuttal to say like the Sopranos connection is very strong here. I mean, you even have like the HBO account on Instagram is already tweeting out like Tony Soprano and Colin Farrell side by side, like, and, so they're definitely like playing with that idea. But yeah, one of the things that I think about is like how spread out this universe is going to be. I mean, the Batman we just talked about last week got pushed back. That movie's not going to, or the Batman 2 is not going to come out until 2026. So think about that. Like, we're gonna watch, we're gonna watch this series this year, and then man, we've got like, I mean, that'll probably premiere in the later half of 2026, maybe. So you're thinking like 2 years after the series before you get the Batman 2. That's a lot of time to think about, but yeah, I liked that Batman movie. I liked Colin Farrell in the role. I'm really, really interested in this. It's definitely an anticipated series for me.
Tiny butt. I do think he was more subdued in this trailer, but it reminded me a lot of the first scene we get in Daredevil, where you just sort of get the sense of the character, where it's just him talking to screen and like sort of just having like a mission statement for who he is. And I just thought that was a cool way to handle this character, because I mean in the Batman, I think he's great, but I don't feel like we really get a sense of him as like his motivation and him being the protagonist, or at least the main character of this show. It seems like it's really good that they're like giving him this sort of like understandable if misguided motivation to be like a legend to his community or something. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire led the box office this weekend after a $45.2 million opening in North America. The new film catapulted the franchise total to more than $1 billion.
Scotty, anybody watch this thing?
I didn't have time to
Not
see
yet.
it.
Yeah, this was one of the few new movies that I did not catch on opening weekend because I haven't seen Afterlife. And had I been able to find Afterlife on a streamer where I didn't have to pay a premium to watch it, I would have, and I would have checked this one out. But that wasn't an option. So I know Ghostbusters is a franchise with a very fervent fandom, but it's always been one that I've always kind of felt like on the periphery of. Like, my biggest exposure to the Ghostbusters was the cartoon in like the late 80s, early 90s, the real Ghostbusters, where like Slimer was their mascot. So that, and I drank a lot of High C Ecto Cooler in the 90s, and that's about the extent of my Ghostbusters fandom.
I'm surprised by that.
I wanted to go see it, but I just, between basketball and I had company this weekend, I couldn't make it happen. So I've seen like mostly nice reviews about it, though. People seem to have just enjoyed kind of the nostalgia of having the older cast back and the blending of the two, the new cast and the old. So I will see it eventually.
Sources tell Hollywood Reporter that filming on the upcoming third season of HBO's Euphoria, which was originally scheduled to begin soon, has been delayed. Issues include scheduling as well as how to write the script around the aging stars who were in high school when last season ended.
Jay, yeah, of course, because it was already stretching trying to convince me that these characters were in high school whenever it was on in that last season. So, yeah, and I think it highlights just the cast is really in demand right now. Like, this show is led by Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney, who's having a moment right now, and Jacob Elordi, who's kind of like getting big as well. So, like, you have like this cast which is going to be torn in a lot of different directions. When the show started, it wasn't really like that, and so this show really put those actors in a position to take on more roles, and now they're extremely in demand, and you've got to figure out a way to like write the series. So I think there's probably a time jump involved here. There's probably like something going on, and I mean, it's going to be a while before, if you're a fan of that show, it's going to be a while probably before you see another season of this.
Insiders have seen early versions of Joker Folly Ado. I read that wrong again. Man. Here we go. Insiders who have seen early versions of Joker Folly Ado have called the film a jukebox musical. Matt.
Scotty?
You go for it, Scotty.
I was just going to say, we've talked about the budget for this thing ballooning to $200 million a few weeks back, and I think this is probably a pretty clear indication as to why. Music rights cost a pretty penny, and I think, the director, Todd Phillips, has probably earned, a little bit of clout to get whatever songs that he wants.
Yeah, this bums me out because I really thought it was going to be an original musical.
It kind of bummed me out too.
Yeah, not a big fan of jukebox musicals. If you don't know
what a jukebox musical is, it's using existing songs like Mamma Mia. They used all of ABBA's songs. That's what a jukebox musical is. And yeah, I wanted to hear Lady Gaga sing some original tunes.
Yeah, I did too.
The reports are too that it's somewhere around the neighborhood of 15 songs that are in this film. So that's a lot. I mean, 15 cover songs in a movie, you get a lot of ground to cover there.
Sounds like a lot. Timothy Chalamet.
I suspect a certain Steve Miller Band song will make the cut.
No, I
Which
hope
one?
Not. That's too on the nose.
Timothy Chalamet inked a multi-year feature film deal with Warner Brothers. Here we go. Timothy Chalamet inked a multi-year feature film deal with Warner Brothers for future projects that he will star in and produce. Chalamet has been box office gold for Warner Brothers lately, with Wonka raking in $632 million and Dune Part 2 at $575 million and counting.
Haley, Timothée getting his payday. It's funny. The article says he made $8 million for Wonka. He'll be making a lot more from here on out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a part of Lucasfilm's month-long Star Wars promotional celebration called Imperial March, Dairy Farmers of America True Moo will release Star Wars True Moo Blue Milk. It is described as a delicious vanilla-flavored milk with blue food coloring, and you can get it starting April 17th.
Jay, I am continuously trying to find things to get obsessed about on this show, and I found it. Right, this is it. This is gonna be my new thing, and they better sell it somewhere near to me so I can show up drinking it on this show. But I just love Star Wars fans. Like, they literally in A New Hope are just drinking from these blue glasses, and it's this blue liquid, and it happens for like 5 seconds. And for some reason, it's just been a thing. And that's just so Star Wars, to like pick a random character in the background and get obsessed with them. Like, think about Boba Fett. Like, just, oh, this guy with the jetpack's so cool. And now we've got like a Boba Fett show and all this stuff because people are just so obsessed with a background character. And this is the ultimate, like, getting obsessed with something in the corner. It's like, no, that milk is blue. I gotta know why it's blue. But in reality, it's probably not that deep. But it's so Star Wars to me, and I just cannot wait to buy this. And I don't even like milk, but I'm going to buy it anyway, just for the joke.
Yep.
Tiny butt. You have to drink it out of a Tupperware cup, because that's what those were.
Totally.
Because of
Totally.
course, because it was the 70s, and they still sell Tupperware. So I expect for you to drink out of Tupperware.
I was thinking
they also sell it at Galaxy's Edge, like in Olga's Cantina. They sell the blue milk. It's one of the drinks you can get. So of course they're going to continue to monetize this. Star Wars.
I was thinking Scoots could drink it out of his Dune popcorn bucket.
Oh,
I feel like
Yeah, I'll do that right after I get back from the Tashi station and have a couple power converters.
Aw.
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are back in Bad Boys Ride or Die. The trailer dropped today, and the movie will premiere June 7th.
Scotty? Matt, did you watch this trailer?
I did.
Felt like this was right up your alley.
I did.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't really seen. I think I've seen the first two. I never saw For Life, and yeah, the history of these movies is interesting because they talked about making a third one forever, and obviously, I think Martin Lawrence and Will Smith's careers sort of diverged, and Will Smith became like the most famous man ever, and then Martin Lawrence, you know, he's good, but like he just didn't hit those
Big Mama's
heights.
House, Rebound, and
Yeah.
things of that
I
ilk.
love Martin Lawrence.
Right, and so I always found it funny that every time you hear people them talking about this movie, it's always Martin Lawrence like, oh yeah, we're gonna make another Bad Boys. We're gonna do. It reminds me of they were talking about making the new Bill and Ted, and I was just like there's clearly like one of those that's hard to get lined up and the one that's not, you know. I don't know. Anyway, so what was kind of interesting about this trailer is it reminded me, it gave me real Fast and the Furious vibes for this franchise. Like, it's always been kind of a big bombastic, but they've been cops. This one looks like they're like on the run and they're going for like some sort of big like heist mission with like militaries they're fighting and stuff, and it just feels like they're trying to make that Fast and the Furious shift where it's like they're going superhero like, and I think that's kind of funny. Could work. Could absolutely work. A new documentary called The Beach Boys hits Disney Plus beginning May 24th, and about the iconic Californian band.
Haley, I love the Beach Boys. I have really fond memories of listening to the Beach Boys as a little girl, like hanging out with my dad in the car, whatever we were doing, running around doing errands, and the Beach Boys would be playing. So I like this, and I think it's interesting. Disney is, you know, we had the Beatles documentary kind of thing that was on Disney Plus, and then they've got Taylor's Eras Tour concert film, and now they're doing this Beach Boys documentary. So I don't know what the like stake they have in music is. I don't know if they have some kind of interest in one of these record companies. I don't know, but it's kind of interesting that they're just continuing to diversify their content. You know, they have National Geographic, they have Star Wars, Marvel, etc., and now it's like, and music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. Scooper Jeff the Insnider Schneider has claimed Spider-Man 4 is on track to begin filming this fall, with Zendaya reportedly returning and Justin Lin on the short list of directors. Matt,
Really?
I feel like this is great news, right?
We're like, huh? Did they make? I thought I saw a headline where Sony and Marvel came to a new agreement. Did I make that up in a fever dream?
I don't know if we
Yes?
had that official or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors about that. There's definitely been a lot ever since Madam Web. It seems like a lot is pushing us in the direction of like Sony's getting less and less. They have less power in that relationship when they realize like they can put $200 million into a movie and it makes 40 or whatever. Like they're realizing like, oh, maybe just forcing out spider related content isn't going to keep working. So like Venom worked, but nothing else has. So maybe we need to just like play ball with Marvel a little more. It seems like, and so since that's happened, there's been a lot more talks about like behind the scenes conversations with Marvel. And I'm hoping that this is true and that maybe maybe Marvel really got the power back in the relationship. And they're going to do something more consistent with Spider-Man. I'd really like to see them, make a deal that goes for more than one movie. And like Spider-Man should be one of the head characters of the MCU right now. And because he's not owned by them, he kind of can't be for them to still make the money they want to make. It's a real bummer.
It's the Sebastian Stan thing though too. Like I don't know how much longer Tom Holland wants to keep doing this. I mean, he's getting up there. Like he's voiced in the past recently that he wants to do other roles, wants to take breaks from acting, wants to kind of explore other opportunities, and he might be one that's kind of looking at some of these Spider-Man roles as being some of his last ones. So I think that's something to keep in mind too.
Yeah, it's possible. I never know. He's talked about that. He also talked about wanting to leave acting and just work on raising a family and stuff. And like, that's all well and good, but it might just all be like playing hard to get. Like, oh, I don't really want to be in the most popular franchise. Like, I'm good. And then that's the only way you get the money truck is if you act like you don't want to do it. And so I never know for sure if that's like PR or if that's real. Jeremy Allen.
Tom Holland is an emotional little creature.
I
feel like that's a fair statement to say. You know what I mean? Like he gets in these
Didn't
funks. He's had some like serious reactions to some of his projects, so I think he can be reaction.
Yeah, you're dead on that. Like he played a guy that gave up drinking, and then he actually gave up drinking, and then didn't he like call the exact? Oh yeah, but it just shows like he does get very invested like in the things that he's doing, and then didn't he like call up executives of Marvel and Sony back when they were fighting over Spider-Man? It was like, please let me be in the MCU.
Yeah,
please.
he like cried on the
like,
phone.
could you play it cool? Like,
and that's why we got like the last two Spider-Man movies. Like I'm thankful for that. He is why him crying on the phone to Sony executives is why we got No Way Home. It's crazy. Lastly, Jeremy Allen White is in talks to play Bruce Springsteen in an upcoming film about the making of his 1982 album Nebraska. A24 is currently in talks to make this movie.
Jay, I've been watching The Bear season 2, been trying to catch up, and I can't think of anyone better to play Bruce Springsteen than Jeremy Allen White. The story behind Nebraska is actually a pretty interesting story. Bruce Springsteen recorded it, really at the height of his popularity on just like a small little mixtape recorder. It's very like stripped down. It's very acoustic. It's kind of a really interesting moment in his career where he tried to do something very different. But to me also, it kind of highlights just the move to do a lot of these films. We've seen a Bob Marley film this year. We've already heard about the Beatles 4 films, all from the different perspectives. We talked about that. You've got the Michael Jackson film coming out this year. So it does seem to be a trend in Hollywood, and this just seems to kind of be continuing that.
Tiny But Timothée is going to play Bob Dylan, or is currently
That's right.
filming a
Yes,
Bob
yeah, I
Dylan
forgot about that
one.
biopic.
Oh.
So yeah, there's just like this movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're totally right. I didn't realize who Jeremy Allen White was when I read the story. Yeah, Jeremy Allen White is such a good call for Bruce Springsteen. That look, man. He has the look, and I think
Oh yeah, he looks
the
just like him.
acting, his affect too is perfect. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's Multiverse News for this week, you guys. We do want to remind you that if you're listening to this, if you're in the cohort that listened to the very end, we appreciate you. But know that next week, that means you're in like the top, 50th percentile of this show or whatever. Like you're a true Multiverse News hound, and you're hanging out here with us. So you stuck through the end. So you are the kind of person we need to be here next week for our 1-year anniversary show on YouTube, youtube.com/strandedpanda. And it will be going live at 7 p.m. Central. And so check your local time zones. But we'll be alive. And
Your local time.
we're going to be giving away prizes. And listen, I'm terrible at time zones. I always have to like look up in my time zone, what time is this? Yeah, I'm terrible at it. I always do it backwards. So
Hey, I got the East Coast representing over here.
Yeah.
We'll be an hour behind.
I've finally gotten better at it. Podcasting has finally made me
No,
better
you're
at
an
it.
hour ahead. Jay.
That's what I meant. See, I'm struggling too.
Yep.
Disturbed.
But so come out next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. April 2nd. We will be recording as always. We're doing it a little earlier because we're going to get on afterwards, create a Zoom link, and let everybody join in and hang out some afterwards. Do a bit of a Zoom hang with people to celebrate the 1 year. So yeah, we would love to hear from you guys, and we'll be back soon. Let's go around and tell them where they can find you online. J. Scotty St. Clair.
Yeah, I just want to take a quick moment to encourage everybody, like, help us get the word out. Share the show, like the show. If you're catching us on YouTube, like and comment on the video. Let people know that we're making the transition from Twitch over to YouTube, and just help us do it up and celebrate, because this show has been a ton of fun to make, and we're super proud of it. But it's a fair amount of work, so we really want to do this big and make it a big celebration, and celebrate all of you as much as we're celebrating the show. So on that note, check me out. Animation Deliberation, the podcast that takes action animation and cartoons seriously, but not too seriously, wherever you get your podcasts.
And Haley Hobbs.
Yeah, I'll tag on to Scotty's plug and remind you to do your 5-star review and screenshot it and share it to Twitter/X or Instagram and tag us, and you'll be entered in the contest to win some cool prizes. I almost said a naughty word. And otherwise, find me on source pages. We are going to start our X-Men comics this week. We're just a little later this week than normal. We're going to read Executioner's Song, which is a crossover event from the 90s. It's super fun already. And then check Scotty and I out on our final Dune cast on Avengers Assemble. It was a chaos cast, and it was super fun.
It was.
Awesome. And Jay Sisson.
Yeah, and I'll also tack on that if you don't have Twitter and Instagram and you're like, I want to review and be entered in the contest, just do what you can. Do a review, take a screenshot of it if you want to put it on Facebook or something, and then send us an email. We're at multiversenewscast@gmail.com. You can just send us an email and be like, hey, I shared this on Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Instagram. And we'll get you in. Okay, so just as long as you're reviewing and sharing it with some people, we'll make sure you get in. So with that being said, though, I'm on Commute the Podcast, where you can learn something interesting, 3 things that are interesting, actually, in about 20 minutes on your way to work. So come check us out at Commute the Podcast.
Yeah, and with those reviews and posts, just make it real natural. You just put a 5-star review. You write how cool the show is. And then when you tag it, you just go, hey, everybody watching my feed, this is my very favorite podcast, and you should listen to it too. No matter what your fandom, they probably talk about it. So tell your friends. It's easy. It's easy. Do it, and we're gonna give away some gift cards next week for that. So yeah, we'll see you guys then. Peace.
You stay classy, Multiverse.
All right. I am worried about this edit.
Oh no.
the like sometimes when I talk, you guys respond immediately, and sometimes there's a lag, and I'm worried there's gonna be like constant shifting of the audio. But
So weird. It was all fine for me, like the whole time.
Yeah,
Really?
it was fun here too.
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
You guys have
I
been
don't have any
completely like
issues.
frozen up for the entire hour with me.
It's smoothed out pretty well for me, but Jay, when you speak, I still get like some clipping at the end. It gets a little
Huh.
digitized. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Bizarre. I don't have any.
Yeah, we're using the gigabit connection over here. I don't know what's going on with it. Oh yeah, I'm hitting stop on Zencaster. YouTube people, and we love you. And Twitch people, if you just happen to still be on Twitch, we are moving to YouTube. So
Yep.
come join
all
us.
of them over there, I think.
I think so too. There's
They're
one.
an A+ group of students.
I mean, look at that.
That's
They
right.
just made the move,
Seamless as fuck.
follow directions.
We were ready to make the move. We were waiting on you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I screwed it up. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for real. Next week, I'm really excited to like hang out with you guys some if you can stay late and
that would be
actually get to, you know, hobnob, kibitz, rub elbows, rub virtual elbows. All right. I don't know, man. I
On that note.
I have way more stress when we have new stuff going on, and I'm like trying to like deal with more screens,
Sorry, man.
and I get nervous more, and like I'm reading worse, and it's just no fun. Also, yeah, but it was fun.
All good.
It was fun. I just like
You did it.
I get a little nervous. All right, much love to all of you out there. We're gonna let you go. Peace.